What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another week of the Rubber Match, your official baseball softball podcast of the Pig Trail Nation. As always, I'm Evan Kamiko. We got an awesome show for you today. We'll get to our housekeeping stuff in just a bit. Some updates on a brand new baseball jersey that's going to drop this season for one day and one day only, and a great reason. And then Dudley Dawson of Hogville.net will join the show as softball gets underway this weekend in the Kickin' Chicken Classic out in South Carolina. And baseball heads to Arlington in just 1 week. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. We're going to skip our dinger count. We're going to skip our K count. Nothing to report this week, so no reason to waste time and do that. Let's go to our field view because I made some changes to the field for this 2026 season so far. My preseason predictions for where Arkansas is going to line up who and where. All right, so some of the changes from last week we'll get to in a second, but the holdovers, Mike Anu in center, Kahio Aloy in right field. I don't think those changes. Reese Robinette at first base. I've got that standard. Gabe Gackel on the mound. I believe he will be the Friday starter, so no reason to change that. And Ryder Helfrich behind the plate just got announced as the Buster Posey watch list, one of the best catchers in the entire country. All right, let's get into some of these changes now. And it starts on the left side of the infield. I got Carson Brumbaugh at shortstop. This kid is projected to be one of the best SEC freshmen of the year, is the current SEC freshman of the year according to D1 Baseball. And then you got TJ Pompey. He's going to be over at third base. Cam Kojal slots in at second. Nolan Souza still not 100%. So I've got him out of the lineup right now, but I do believe, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does start at designated hitter in Game 1 over Zach Stewart. I've got Zach Stewart's name, just wanted to change it up a little bit as for who is going to be in that position, but I do believe next week in my final predictions, that will be Nolan Souza. All right, let's go to the outfield now because here is where things get interesting. It's that left field battle right now, and I think it's really between Damian Ruiz. You've got Zach Stewart in that mix, as well as Christian Turner, but I'm going to give the edge to the Lamar transfer. I've got Ruiz starting in left field right now for the Razorbacks. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what TVH is going to do? But that's where I have the infield right now. So, all right, we welcome you back into our solo shot. As always, I'm Evan Kamiko. Let's talk about really quickly the new uniforms Arkansas will be wearing for one day and one day early. If you don't know, well, now you know. Arkansas baseball is going to be repping these gorgeous uniforms in honor and to pave and to say thank you to Norm DeBryan. He's being inducted in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Eventually, Arkansas on March 27th will honor him as well. So these are the uniforms that the Razorbacks are going to be wearing. And my goodness, these are just absolutely freaking gorgeous. You've got the old 70s word mark that Arkansas used to wear. That 70s A is going to be featured on the hog hat with the slobbering hog on the back. It is just fantastic. They're going to be selling these, according to Hayden Herrera and I, inside the stadium only. So you've got to make sure to get to bomb that day to be able to get one of these. And I know myself, I will be on the line for that hat. So if you need to find anybody, come cut with me online. Tell me that you're a fan of the show, and thanks for watching as always. All right, without further ado, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, Dudley Dawson joins the show. You're watching the Rubber Match. We roll on after this. Welcome back into the show. Excited to be joined, as we always are. It's Dudley Dawson. Dudley, thanks for talking baseball, softball. I know there's a lot to get to. It's an exciting time here in Northwest Arkansas. Softball out in South Carolina to open the week. Baseball, their season right around the corner in Arlington. We'll get to baseball in a minute. We'll start with softball and just go through kind of expectations for the season as a whole coming off of 2025.
I really think they have the opportunity this year to get to that first College Women's World Series softball. And got so close last year. I think they're better on the mound this year. Obviously, you lost Bree Ellis, but they've got a lot of transfers and freshmen that come in. A lot of sophomores going to take a step forward. And why not start it at the Kickin' Chicken Classic in Conway, South Carolina?
What kind of name goes into that? I wonder how they named it Kickin' Chicken. I know, Coastal, Chanticleers, the whole thing, but just a fun name for an opening weekend.
And I would have got to think there's a restaurant or something around there that does Kickin' Chicken, even if it's a gas station or something. But yeah, I'm excited to learn the genesis of that. But I just love typing it in the stories. So,
it's always
I like the Shriners College Baseball Classic too, but Kickin' Chicken gets I like that.
Yeah, I feel like the Shriners Classic has changed names so often. I mean, it was. Oh my God, I don't think it was Amigi Bank, but it was something else last year, something before that. But Kickin' Chicken, I think we're settled on that. But let's talk about the softball team. A lot of returners held over from last year. It's kind of an anomaly, it feels like, in college softball, but Coach Seifel kind of defying the odds, if you will. What do you make of her bringing back so much of that core from 2025 here in 26?
I don't know how the NIL and all that works with softball. I haven't dug into that too much, but what I do know is she does a great job of retaining people and bringing in. I mean, she brought in two young women that were preseason All-American or postseason All-American at their previous places, and that's the kind of talent you want to get in here. She last year I think had 13 players she could put out there in different positions. I think that's the same this year. Few different ones, but you start on the mound again, and I think the mound is where they're going to be stronger than ever.
Yeah, Robin Herron back, Peyton Burnham back, Cam Harrison, Reese Burline, Lexi King, to name a few. You add a few freshmen. Who are you looking at when it comes to who's going to be in the circle to make a big impact? Let's say outside of, because everyone knows, right? Peyton and Robin are the clear 1 and 2, but outside of that, who are you excited to watch this season?
It's tough to narrow them down, but I do like Lily Faye that is from here in state, and I think she's got the opportunity to be really good, and so that's one of them. I do think that they're going to be able to. I think they maybe could go out to dinner together, two of them, and they'd still be able to get through this year. But I think once it gets time to postseason, maybe everybody just get one pitcher at a time.
Let's not get food poisoning at the end of the season this year. I think that would be maybe like worst case scenario again of just finding ways to not get over the hump. I mean, how crazy was that? We go back to it. I've talked to a bunch of the players, Coach Deifel recently, and they are still, feels like they haven't like wrapped their head around that like actually happened, and they still had a chance to get to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I still kept thinking they were going to do it, and you wake up and you hear that, and everybody's going to go 2 innings instead of 5, and that sort of thing. I do think they were a better team, but they got caught that weekend in that situation, and we saw some great pictures and great video in terms of getting the emotion and stuff. Obviously, you don't want to see that at the end of your season. They were just right there, and that's why I think this year they're a better rounded team and have a chance to get there. Now, I'm not going to guarantee it, not going to put it in as a lock, but I've seen a lot of these softball teams now, and I really think this one has a chance to be special.
Look, we saw Texas Tech essentially ride Najee Kennedy all the way to the National Championship Series last year, so it can be done with one pitcher, but it's probably highly unlikely in any sport, baseball or softball specifically.
That pitcher in Landman Ullman, I think, there. So,
well, maybe it was like the cartel money that they were sliding to in Lubbock up there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's okay down there.
Absolutely. Tommy Norris, if you're watching this, don't listen to Dudley and I. But let's talk about the infield and the outfield, because it feels like, again, you lost Bree Ellis, who was such a big piece of that infield and the team. Again, National Player of the Year last year. But it seems like everyone else is going to return, and it almost feels like it's Ella McDowell's time to step into that spotlight and become what Bree was here the last 2 years. Where do you feel that Ella's going to grow so much in year 2 on the Hill?
Well, it's not volume-wise because she's one of the loudest players you've ever seen. I like that. It's kind of like how I was back in the day. Still am, But I like the way she's so involved. She encourages her teammates. She's loud. She gets after it. I think, as Coach Deifel has said, she's going to take a step forward in the power numbers this year. She's always been a clutch hitter, whether it be in high school, summer ball, or when she was a freshman. I do think that she's going to this has a chance to be her infield now that Bree has moved on to hanging out with Kevin Durant and all that. But I do think she's got a chance, and obviously the experts do too. They've got her as a preseason All-American, and Robin Herron as well. But I love to watch her play. Bree was my favorite quote back then. I think she's going to be this year.
Ella is really fun, and I asked her a couple of weeks ago to describe the team, and she said, yes. And I'm like, that's nothing that you'd hear me say that often, but again, it's the energy, the intensity, everything she brings, because they're going to need somebody to kind of be that spark plug in the order, and last year it was Bree Ellis, the year before Bree Ellis. So to your point, I think it's really going to be Ella's time to step up and become that power hitter for this Razorback team. But elsewhere across, again, you return your speed in Reagan Johnson in the outfield. Kaylee Wyckoff comes back. Kennedy Miller will look to rebound to where she was her freshman year, where we were talking about how she could be one of the best catchers in the country in year 2 on the hill. So a lot of options when it comes to returners for Courtney Deifel.
Yeah, and they've got versatility. They've got like 3 catchers they can put back there if they need to move around the lineup. I'm sure they're going to do that. I hate that freshman Kamaria Hall is going to be out for the year. I guess it was a labrum injury early. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but she mentioned that she's going to be out for the year. That takes you down one player that was an All-American and would have been, I think, if not a starter, a Brendan Donovan type person that could play several places and be there and help the team out. Like I said, I hate that it happens, but this is a team that has enough versatility that I think that can overcome that, and then Kamari can come back next year and have a really good year.
And week 1 coming up this week, obviously we've talked about the Kick and Chicken Classic. What to you would be a successful opening weekend for this team down in South Carolina?
5 games. So I think, really you go down there, you want to win all 5. But I think if you come out with 3 wins, I think you should feel good about yourself. And as most coaches say, this is, having these scrimmages is great. And obviously they haven't got to get outside a lot, just like the baseball team. But I think you go down there and find out what maybe your deficiencies were that you didn't think you had, and just let them play against other competition. That's the best thing. Now, I hate don't play here for I think the first 15 games or whatever it is. But I'm anxious to watch and see how they advance, and I really think that again, this is a well-rounded team, and we can tell when Coach Deifel does the pre-press conferences and the post-conference games, how she's feeling about the team. She's smiling a lot right now.
Yeah, there's a good vibe when it comes to Coach Deifel about this team. And again, the schedule doesn't really do them many favors. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Oklahoma at one point in the season. What are you most looking forward to when SEC play rolls around and we get into the real nitty-gritty of the season?
It's now that there's so many teams that it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I am looking forward to their home schedule. They always have played well at Bogle. I know that they want to get over the hump here at home and then get themselves to to Oklahoma City, where every college softball player wants to go. I do think that they will be pointing not toward being their best at the start of the season, but that last game. They're just that last game getting over there. And I think because of that pitching that I keep talking about, because of the versatility and because of the youth and excitement that this team has, that they're going to be charging at the end, and that's what you need to be.
And it feels like every year that we talk about Arkansas baseball and softball, that's when you want to be playing your best. So hopefully for Coach Deifel's team, they're able to. But let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about baseball. And before we really get into the nitty-gritty, awesome moment yesterday, or the other day, I should say. We recorded this on Wednesday. This will drop on Thursday for everyone watching on Thursday. Arkansas baseball putting out, legacy uniforms to honor Coach DeBryan when he gets inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. What'd you take of the old throwback uniforms that Arkansas is going to bring out this year?
Well, I've been around here so long that every once in a while I type Coach DeBryan in my story still instead of Coach Van Horn. He was great in building this program. They had that small little George Cove field over by the Hyper and what's now the football practice fields. And, he built this program. Kevin McReynolds, a lot of guys that came through here, Tim Lawler, helped him build it. And that's why Baumwalker Stadium is standing there now, because of what Coach DeBryan did and those players during that time. He's a saint of a guy, number one. And obviously wasn't born here in the state, but he became an adoptive Arkansan, I guess it would be. And I just think this is, I don't want to say long overdue, but I'm glad it's getting done because he was the force behind baseball. And Coach Van Horn, one of his own players, has taken it and, ran with it again. It's just, I mean, it's pretty good when your fans are going to be disappointed if you don't make the College World Series. That's how good a program this is.
Absolutely. And last year we saw Arkansas making the College World Series. And this year the goal remains the same, only getting over that hump that it feels like so often they've been so close to doing, whether it's 2018, 2022, last year in 2025. I think the big question right now for everyone is going to be probably the pitching staff and what this rotation is going to look like. It seems pretty clear Gabe Gackel is going to be your Friday starter, but what do you think after that? Is it going to be Dietz, Gibler, Fisher, as we might have heard and DVH might have alluded to earlier this week? What do you make of the rotation right now?
I think that's your top four choices, it sure seems like. And the fact that Colin Fisher threw 12 straight strikes the other day gets a fan base excited because he's always had the potential, battled a few injuries. Every once in a while, his stuff would be electric, and then it would drift off the plate too much. So I'm excited about that. But, I mean, let's be honest about it. The wild card this year on that pitching staff is Hunter Dietz. I am looking forward to not typing the words oft injured in front of him. And I feel so sorry for that guy. He was electric when he came in here the fall before getting injured. He sure seems like in the one outdoor scrimmage we got to see, he was electric. And I really feel like that he's a big key there. If Geico can be your number one, Dietz can be your number two, and then either Fisher or Gibler, can you get to the point that you could depend on three of those guys every weekend and not have the TBA, get through it without injuries, be able to, there's a lot to be said for throwing two lefties at a college lineup, and especially ones with gas. And then Parker Coyle's just sitting back there ready to go. They've got a freshman. Not going to try to pronounce his name right now, but he has the 95 to 100 stuff. And Carson Wiggins gets named an All-American. We'll see if he plays. That's the big. I mean, that's how good you are. That they know you're not going to start the season, but you may be the back half of it, and you may be that good. And obviously, the pro scouts are just waiting. It's a fight, and Dave Van Horn mentions it every time. If anybody wants to give some money to help keep you here, please do it.
And we saw, too, the Wiggins show early in the season. It's like, okay, he's that next Hagen Smith, Christian Fouch. I'd say Fouch in the terms of velocity, maybe not so much being able to start, but that next guy with the big arm, and unfortunately got hurt at the end of last year, never got to see him again. So it's really fascinating that Baseball America gave him that nod to be a preseason All-American. But we look in the infield. What are your big question marks when it comes to the actual infield, outfield of this team? Again, it feels like first base, second base, and catcher are really the only positions right now we could say are truly locked in, and I'll give Mike Anu in center field as well.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now, it looks like maybe TJ Pompey is going to play third base, and obviously Cam Kozo at second. So then that leaves Carson Brumbaugh at shortstop, Nolan Souza, who was playing third base apparently the other day. That's another bat and an arm you want to get in there. Obviously, you still got to continue to build that strength. But you got some options on that infield, and Carson Brumbaugh is going to play somewhere. You don't get named the SEC Freshman of the Year unless you're legit. And I think it's Tim Smalling back was the last time, 2008, something like that. They had a freshman shortstop start. But this dude's the real deal. I'm surprised that he got through the draft. I think his head coach, who I talked to during the year, was surprised he got through. But, sometimes, as they say, they set high numbers, and if they don't get it, they know they can go back and earn those riches later on. But that infield, has a lot of different options. And the fact that I would really like to see Nolan Souza be able to get through 1 year without getting hurt and have to be honest, an Eloy-type year. I think that he has the ability to step up like his fellow Hawaiian did. After a year of chasing too many pitches and all that, I think he could be in the zone right now. And during the fall workouts, many of which I got to see, and during the one I guess a 2026 one we've got to see, he's pounding the ball. And so he's got to be in the lineup somewhere, just like the Kehua Eloy.
To me, Nolan Souza has always been kind of that what-if guy, and what if he can, to your point, stay healthy and be what we thought he could be. Because I remember there was a stretch his freshman year where, he looked like the best player in the SEC. And he took over that second base, almost won that job with Peyton Stovall out with an injury. And it was like, whoa, like Peyton Stovall might have problems coming back. Try to shift him to third, bat kind of fell off, yada, 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 with Jared Sprague-Lott there. But really fascinating, I think, is Nolan Souza. And then you have the outfield, and really it's everyone wants to talk, it feels like right field is Kehua Eloy to lose. Left field, you've kind of got Damian Ruiz and Zach Stewart out there vying for that starter job.
Yeah, and I think that I feel real good about the outfield's offense. And Micah New has made some plays out there in center field. Christian Turner may be your left, freshman, true freshman starting left fielder to just see. I mean, Coach Van Horn made it clear the other day. You hit, you're in the lineup. Because not any of them are just so more advanced defensively than the others. So if you hit, you be in the lineup. So Christian Turner was doing that all fall. He has the opportunity to be there. The problem or the strength that they have, I think, is they have too many players for too few positions. But you always know there's going to be an injury somewhere down the line. Somebody's going to go into a slump. And again, they've done a wonderful job after having 11 people drafted, 3 signed free agent contracts, uh, and restocking the cupboard, as they say.
Yeah, always a good thing, again, when you get to, you know, have the opportunity to have all of these guys available and ready to go. It's really interesting. What do you make of kind of opening weekend next weekend, going down Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech? What do you want to see next weekend in Arlington?
Oklahoma State and Texas Tech may not be as good as they have been in the past, but TCU certainly is. Big fan of Kirk Saarloos, their coach. Sometimes I call him manager still, because that's the MLB. But I think he does a wonderful job with his program, and that's going to be a big game Saturday night. I do think that will be the most attended game Saturday night on the coaches teleconference they had, or Zoom, I guess we call it now. They talked about how they'd already sold 30,000 tickets for the weekend, 14,000 for that Friday night, and that's before everybody even decides they're going down there. So, I suspect that Saturday game will be electric, and I'm sure that the Friday and Sunday afternoon games will be as well, because Arkansas and Oklahoma State, anytime they play baseball, whether you've got Captain Jack on there as he was a few years ago, it's a rivalry in baseball, and I obviously really like Josh Holliday. I was a big fan of his brothers when he played with the Cardinals, and I think he does a really good job over there. But Arkansas should go down there and handle their business.
Absolutely. It's going to be such a fun weekend to watch. We'll have Trey Dare as well as Haley Weiss out there for our Pig Trail Nation coverage. Dudley, are you going to be in Arlington? Or are you going to be back here?
That's left to be decided right now. We're working through some things. Thankfully, the portal's over. We have some junior day. We're trying to figure everything out. But it would. I have always gone down there. I've always loved being down there. I was told not to wear my St. Louis Cardinal shirt there by a Texas Rangers executive, but I mean, get over it, man. It was 2011.
15 years ago already. Dudley, anything else we missed before we let you go?
No, I just think both teams are in good shape. Obviously you can't guarantee anything, but the people running the program have done a great job in the past, and I see no reason that it won't happen again this year. If they lose 2 or 3 games early, like Coach Van Horn said, like Coach Deifel said, just realize it's not a sprint. It's a long haul, and they'll be there in the end, just like they always are.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Dudley for coming on. As always, Dudley, we'll see you very soon, and we'll be right back after the break. Back here on the Rubber Match, big thank you to Dudley Dawson for joining us as always, and he did a good amount last time. We'll have him back on here in the next couple of weeks. But exciting guests for you. A lot of fun shows coming your way. Next week, I won't tell you the guests, but if you're a fan of Arkansas baseball, listen to them on the radio. You'll recognize that voice. Can't wait for him to join the show. And then throughout the next couple of weeks, we'll have plenty of people as well. We've got full baseball coverage, too, over on our YouTube and website right now. Dave Van Horn going to sit down with Pig Trail Nation really soon. We've got a fun story on Parker Coyle. Obviously, Cam Kozel was here last week. Courtney Deifel, sit down. That's over on our website right now, just to name a few of the things and the great content that we have coming your way here at the Pig Trail Nation. All right, that's going to do it for our show this week. A big thank you to all of you for tuning in. Thanks for commenting last week on what you guys like and you don't like of the show. I'll try to make sure to read some of the comments one day on this show, maybe next week. Ran out a little bit over with Dudley, so couldn't do that this week. But again, thank you for watching. Drop down in the comments what you like, what you don't like. This is your guys' show as much as it is mine. I want to entertain you guys, talk baseball, softball. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down low. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of The Rubber Match. We'll see you back here next week.